Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here. Welcome to another edition of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility, the show on the channel where we take a look at some of the great new releases that are coming out in the genres of heavy metal, all forms of metal, power metal, thrash metal, progressive metal, death metal, black metal, classic metal, you name it, progressive rock, hard rock, classic rock, jazz fusion. We cover all sorts of cool stuff here on the channel. So today we're going to take a look at the brand new release. It's the second full-length album from Michigan's rock and roll darlings. Of course, I'm talking about Greta Van Fleet, The Battle at Garden's Gate. Hot off the presses, this just came out. This follows up their 2018 release, Anthem of the Peaceful Army. They also have a couple of EPs, Black Smoke Rising and From the Fires. So, of course, everybody knows who this band is. They're probably one of the few U.S. hard rock bands who have gotten a lot of press since they debuted. Of course, they sound, uncannily like Led Zeppelin, a band that they seem to not really give much credit to as to the development of their sound. Whatever. Singer sounds like a young Robert Plant. The guitar player sounds a lot like Jimmy Page. Their music is very Zeppelin-ish at times. Quite frankly, I don't mind it, right? We haven't had Led Zeppelin as a band in decade after decade after decade, and along come these guys who play just great 70s-inspired hard rock, and yeah, they sound a lot like Zeppelin, but I don't care. I read all the comments across the board from people who either love or hate these guys. There seems to be no middle ground. It's like either people just, don't care that they're derivative and love them for it, like myself, and then people who just refuse to listen to them and can't stand them because they sound too much like Led Zeppelin. You know what? Whatever. It's like you either love them, you don't. I guess I'm mainly talking to the people who kind of dig these guys. So let's take a look at the album here. So again, there's the cover, there's the back. We've got 12 tracks on this new album. All right, pretty cool artwork. Let's take a look at the booklet here. Got your lyrics, got some cool imagery and artwork. And there are the guys in the band. Of course, they're very young. I don't think anybody in this band, are they over 23 at this point? I don't even know, to be honest with you. But let me get you information on the band themselves. Let me just go to their page here. We've got, of course, a couple of brothers. It's all brothers and cousins or best friends, that sort of thing. So we've got Josh Kiska on lead vocals. You've got Jake Kiska on guitars and backing vocals. Sam Kiska on bass guitar, keyboards, backing vocals. And Danny Wagner on drums and backing vocals. So I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, is it two brothers, a cousin, and a best friend? Something like that. But these guys have, obviously all known each other. They grew up together, so they're very familiar with each other, and they've been playing together for a long, long time, and it really, really tells here. So, like I said, we've got 12 songs here. I gotta say, I love this. I really do. It's one of those albums that I just keep playing over and over and over again, and I'm just swept away by the intelligence of the arrangements. You can definitely hear, if you've been following them from the beginning, you can definitely hear how they have matured as songwriters and arrangers. From the first album is more riffy, like the EP I'm talking about, the first two EPs. A little more riffy, a little heavier. The second album started to see some little folk influence and some psychedelia, maybe some prog, right? Not as heavy, not as riffy as the two EPs. This is kind of like a combination of the two. There's some really epic stuff on here. I don't want to keep mentioning Led Zeppelin, right? Because I think people get annoyed at that after a while, and I'm sure the band does as well too. But Zeppelin and Jimmy Page in particular, and John Paul Jones, had this way of writing really epic sounding songs with these spiraling arrangements that, brought in these great guitar textures and big riffy type things. Mellotron and keyboards when needed, to add that kind of strings feel to it. The big, drum bashing, the soaring high-pitched vocals. You got a lot of that here, and it really starts to kick in by the third song and throughout the rest of the album. Heat Above and My Way Soon, both good, crisp, catchy rockers to start this album off. But then you got the haunting Broken Bells, and man, there's just some great guitar stuff on here. Really, really good. For a bunch of young guys, man, these dudes can play. Built by Nations is fabulous. Age of Machine, so good. Tears of Rain, probably my favorite song on here is the moody, the darker Stardust chords. Absolutely gorgeous. It's heavy, it's epic, it's kind of proggy. Just the vocal harmonies, and I love when the singer, the hell's his name again? Josh, when he does his and the guitars behind them, and it just sounds so immense. And you just want to kind of hit the replay button over and over and over again. I absolutely love Stardust chords. Light My Love is great. Caravel, The Barbarians, stunning. Absolutely stunning. Trip the Light, fantastic, amazing. And then, like, one of the best songs, Save for Last, The Weight of Dreams. It's just so haunting. It rocks, but man, it's just a moving piece of music that every time I listen to this album, I like it even more. And it's just so good for, like I said, for a bunch of really young guys. They've just knocked it out of the park on here. It sounds so mature. I mean, this sounds like a band that's been around for decades, and this is like their magnum opus. And here they are. They're in their early 20s, and they've hit it out of the park here. I think I really like the previous album. This is way better, without question. Without question. When you get a brand new CD and you just, from the first listen, you just can't stop listening to it, and you keep wanting to hear it over and over and over again. You listen to it 2-3 times in a row. I don't often do that because I have so much to listen to. It's rare that I give like new stuff that much playtime, but really good. And for all you folks who dismiss this band or don't want to even give this band a try, you're really missing out. I mean, I read a couple comments from people the other day who were like, if I want to hear something that sounds like Zeppelin, I'll just go listen to my Zeppelin albums. And I get that, but man, this is still really well crafted music. I get it that it sounds like one of our favorite bands, but it's still really good. I don't know. I guess that's just me. I don't really get caught up in that whole thing. I do not mind retro-sounding bands who, sound like Zeppelin or The Who or Sabbath or Purple. I don't really care, because in many instances, a lot of these bands aren't making new music, haven't made new music in ages, and here you've got these younger bands who are kind of picking up the torch and taking it going forward. And if it sounds a little, unoriginal, well, yeah, I think the days of us experiencing, heavy bands or rock bands or whatever that are going to come out and do something completely different that we've never heard before, I don't know if that exists. However, bands can take styles and similarities from the old classics and at least come up with songs that are memorable, that are catchy, that have good instrumentation. That's what it's all about here. Sure, it sounds like the Zeppelin dudes, but the songs are really good. Like I said, they're so memorable, they're exciting, they're dramatic, they're epic, all that stuff. So I urge you to give these guys a chance. Again, you may not like the way they look, you may not like what they stand for, but if you just listen to the music, it's that damn good. So that is my review for The Battle at Garden's Gate from Greta Van Fleet. Sure to be among my favorites of the year. I'm actually, over the next couple of days, going to talk about another young band that kind of does the retro thing really well, the Vintage Caravan from Iceland, their new album Monuments. We'll be talking about that next, so stay tuned for that. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. Coming up, so we got no programming happening tonight. However, I will be over on Guitar Hack tonight, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live. Okay, we'll be broadcasting live, talking about a handful of band shows. We'll be talking about a handful of notable bands, and if we were to introduce those bands to someone who has never heard them before, what is the one album from each band we would offer as an introduction and why? So that's coming up on Guitar Hack tonight, so join us there. And then tomorrow, of course, we've got The Monsters Den with Rich Catino, Chris Allo, Dan Brown, and Jamie Laszlo. We're going to be talking about our favorite 5 British horror classics Not Hammer horror, though. We've already done a couple of Hammer shows, so this is going to be for those who like Amicus and Tyburn and Tygon and, all the other smaller British movie houses that were producing cool horror films like in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So that is coming up tomorrow. As well as we've got Bryce from Bryce Talks Metal coming on the show for the very first time tomorrow. He and I are going to be talking about our 10 favorite thrash metal debuts. So those first albums from some notable thrash bands that we feel knocked it out of the park. So that's coming up tomorrow. And all sorts of stuff happening this weekend, so stay tuned for all that. Martin Popoff also coming back tomorrow for a cool show. So a lot happening. And am I missing anything? I probably am, but there's you'll see it when it appears. So take care, everybody, and I will see you real soon. Oh, and we got the heavy metal hard rock mixtape show tomorrow as well. So that's all. A lot of shows happening tomorrow. We'll be busy tomorrow night. So we've got Jack Toledano, Chris Allo, and Rich Gattino joining myself. We're going to be putting together, each of us, a 30-minute mixtape of hard rock and metal favorites that we would give to someone back in the day when we were doing those sort of things, who really was not familiar with hard rock or metal. And here you've got some of our best examples of what we really love. And so that's happening tomorrow as well. So stay tuned, and we'll see you all then. Take care. Bye-bye.